This is Akilon Wastes, spawning in the bottom right-hand position as the red Terran from Evil Geniuses. Team Liquid, give it up for Alive.
His opponent also a Terran player spawning as a blue Terran on the top left position on Akilon Wastes. His name is Ty, playing for Kespa Team8th.
So, of course, the last TvT we saw on this matchup was between Flash and Fantasy. It was a pretty intense TvT. Flash ended up winning in the end, but we did see a very long and dragged out game, and I feel like this map really promotes that kind of play, especially in TvT.
Oh yeah, if it goes to mech style TvT, both players can take up to 4 bases relatively easily, and that's when the fight begins. Until you get to that point, there's going to be some cute harassments here and there, but once you get up to 3 bases, that's when you start drawing the line across the map. You know, which bases should I Which bases should I start taking? Do I take the pocket expansion? Do I take the one with the collapsible rocks? And do I just take the top half of the expansions, or do I take the left side, the right side? Excuse me, that's a question for the players to solve out throughout the game.
Indeed, so it looks like both players opting to go for a Barracks first opening, no command center first, and now it looks like Alive deciding to grab his gas. By the way, guys, if you have any questions about Pro League or Stracraft in particular, you can tweet at us and we'll do our best to answer those questions in between games or maybe during the beginning of some of the games. You can follow me, I am at Whiplash, and you can follow Alex at Supernova Maniac.
Who's Alex?
Oh, I don't know, man. Maybe the person that's casting next to me? Just a thought there.
No, I thought it was a Korean name, not an English name. Okay.
All right, so we have our Team 8 player, Ty. He's deciding to be the one to scout first. Alive, checking around his base for hidden expansions. Sorry, not hidden expansions. You don't do that. Hidden proxy buildings, but he's going to go ahead and just build a supply depot over to the left side of his base. And Ty getting a good scout off on his opponent, so he knows exactly what's going on. And both players going for the Reaper opening.
Oh yeah, Reaper opening is really popular, especially in TvT nowadays. You know, it's hard to get to scout into your opponent's base if they try to wall off, so they just use the Reaper, use the cliff, get inside the main base, and see what their opponent is doing. They might even make up to 2, and then that's when they try to apply some more pressure to their opponent. And look at this, Alive got his second Reaper out.
Yes.
Well, it's on its way.
So the real question will be, will that second Reaper come out as well? We do have Alive's first Reaper moving across the map. Will he spot that Marine? Looks like he just barely misses it there. And only one Reaper coming out from Ty. He's going to go ahead and get his expansion. Both players actually going for their expansion now, but with a bit of an earlier reactor for Ty.
This might... okay, so now Alive's Reaper is going to get inside the main base. He's going to snipe the SCB. And the main problem is Ty is getting a reactor, and he doesn't have any units coming out pretty soon. So now he's going to try to apply some pressure since his opponent only has one Reaper. However, he's not getting the reactor for Alive, so he could actually make a second Reaper or second Marine.
Uh-oh, one Reaper getting sniped off there, and now Alive potentially going to lose a few SCVs there. One already goes down, and the Reaper does make it out alive. He will be able to snipe off that SCV, building that command center. One Marine out on the way to try to stop this aggression here. And now the second Reaper coming out, that will allow Alive to potentially kill off that Reaper. Yes, the Reaper does go down, and he does lose the Marine. I think he was able to save that SCV, though.
Not too sure, because Alive, that Reaper, that wasn't the second Reaper. That was the Reaper that was inside Ty's main base that he could have killed more SCVs. So in the end, Alive did get more SCVs, but he actually bought... Ty actually had a little more mineral time, mining time, because Alive had to pull some of his SCVs to defend against the attack.
So now we have a second command center, or I guess a third command center on the way for Alive. He's also going to be scouting a little bit with this Reaper here. He has, I believe, did he lose one of his Reapers?
Oh yeah, he did.
Okay, so Alive...
He lost one of the Reapers when he was trying to defend.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Defend, so that's what happened.
Yeah, so he still has one Reaper alive, and it looks like Ty decided to make another one, and that Reaper butting heads into the wall there before deciding to cliff jump off onto that high ground there. And now 2 Hellions on the way for Alive, going to be moving across the map and see if they can catch any units off guard.
Did Ty actually cancel his reactor, or did he just make a second one? Because I only see 1 Hellion from the factory, and by this time it should be a reactor factory, not just a single factory. So he either put a different tech lab or he only has a factory without the reactor. So I'm curious if he actually canceled the reactor before when Alive's first Reaper got inside the main base.
Yeah, well, there is one reactor there.
That was the one that just finished.
Yeah,
but
so
it started
I guess he did.
It started before Alive started getting his reactor.
I guess it may have indeed then. All right, Alive moving in here with one of his Reapers. He wants to do a little bit of scouting here. Just going to check out his opponent's base, moving that Reaper up to the high ground, but the Hellions are perfectly placed, going to be able to snipe off that Reaper, but he does scout the starport and the third command center. Both players still doing very identical builds here, but we do have the stim on the way for Ty a little bit faster. Sorry, for Alive a little bit faster than Ty.
Yeah, well, we have to see if Ty's going to stick to the bio composition or if he's going to go for the mech. So he sees that his opponent is going to go for the bio. He sees the third command center. So what is his response going to be? He got a Viking out already for, you know, the Banshee defense. Now he's getting the Hellions out to match the ground army of his opponent, but it really depends on if he's going to get the additional barracks down or if he's going to get the additional factories down. For now, he's going to get a Banshee and try to harass around the map.
Yeah, so Live going to heavily commit to the bio here, getting 2 engineering base down. He's going to focus on that double upgrades.
I have to say. Yeah, there we go. Factory's going down. He just added the 2 gases at the natural, so that's an indication of going for the mech. Terran players, they need tons of gas to go into mech.
It's going to be the classic bio versus mech here, with Alive opting for the bio force and his opponent Ty going for more of a mech force here. Now, in this matchup, you know, how do the 2 different sides generally play out in TvT?
Well, if you do a mech, you need to be a lot more defensive than your opponent. Money Scan going down by Alive, by the way, and scans everything the Ty is going for. So now both players know what the opponent is going for completely. So mech players, they need to be more defensive because once they get to 200-200, they have much stronger army than their opponent. But the problem is they don't have the mobility, and they get to 200-200 much later than the player who goes for the bio. Alive in this case, he needs to be more mobile out on the map. Once he starts getting tons of Marines out and the Marauders, he needs to start harassing around, get the tank count low, and pretty much force his opponent to be in a really uncomfortable position when he pushes out.
Forcing your opponent to make hard decisions is a great way in TvT. Yeah, it's key.
It's not even a great way. It's the key to winning the TvT wars.
Yeah, that, and I would have to also add in choking your opponent out of resources. That's a huge part of TvT, no matter what composition you open up with.
Oh yeah, I mean, it happens a lot more.
Widowmine hitting that Banshee there, taking it down to 15 health. Nice little defensive maneuver by there. The Banshee doesn't even stick around to do any damage, just runs out of there. So it looks like Alive has had a pretty good map presence here with the Hellions, using the Widowmines very well defensively. But now the third base, it's up for both players now, and it looks like they've both landed them at that safer expansion where they can knock down those rocks. And those Hellions moving in there, getting a little bit over-eager. A few of them going down and getting a bit low on health as well.
Sensor Tower 4 and Ty, and that's so great because all he has to worry about is not making sure that the medivacs not get inside the main base, the natural or the third base, because like I said, it's really crucial for the Terran player who's going for the mech to get up to 200-200 without getting harassed, and this is a crucial key. Getting the turrets up, getting the Sensor Tower to know when their opponent is going to pressure, and defending them against on time is the key point to winning this game. And here we go, Alive, he wants to apply some pressure with the double medivac.
There's no double medivacs hitting across the map there. He's going to be able to easily avoid that sensor tower because it's on the other side of the map, as well as those units by the watchtower. And the real question is, will there be enough units at this natural in time to make this drop not worth it? There is a missile turret going down, and there's already another one completed. And we actually may see these medivacs meet mid-air. Nope. Probably not, though. But that medivac does have the double Hellion or Hellbats in there.
This is going to be tricky. If Alive tries to hide the medivacs as much as possible, it's actually going to get sniped. So it's a problem of, is he going to drop it at the natural in this location? No, he needs to go around to the right side because of the double turrets, or even just deny the fourth expansion.
All right, and here we go. We have a double Hellbat drop going on. One of them going to the third base of Alive, and the other one going to the main base. This siege tank, though, actually out of range, but that Hellbat actually won't be able to do a lot of damage. Nice! Excellent, actually. Drop defense from Alive here, losing barely anything here, and also at the same time, he was able to deny that fourth base of Ty.
Well, Ty didn't really have nothing to lose in that, because the medevacs, they don't really matter later in the game for the mech competition. And the Hellbase is just an icing to the cake. Alive, however, he needs to start dwindling his opponent's economy or the tank count, because now Ty's getting up to 4th base and he can't touch it.
Exactly. I'm actually a bit surprised we don't see a 4th command center already on the way for Alive here. Well, he's not building one yet.
He doesn't need as much economy to get the bio units out, so he's not in a hurry to get a 4th base up. But if he allows his opponent to get a 4th base up, that's going to be a huge trouble, because now Ty can just spam mass mech army and there's no answer for Alive if he doesn't get the right unit composition out in time.
It looks like though Alive plans on moving out across the map here. He does have a very seizable army. And looks like this medevac with the double Hellbats in it will move over to the natural and potentially 3rd base as well. Alive now gearing up to take that expansion there. He should be able to just barely spot that medevac drop as it comes into his natural.
He doesn't have any units in position to deal with the double medevac drops inside the main base and the natural, so now he needs to make a decision. Okay, the natural has been cleared up, but the main base, the Hellbats are doing so much damage against the SCVs.
Oh gosh, so many SCVs have been killed by Team8th. Ty already 34 SCVs going down, but now the 4th base is bare. And it looks like Ty is moving in. There's a lot of good positioning for those siege tanks there. We're going to need to see a scan go off in order to snipe those tanks. I feel like they can easily get taken out here with some good micro, with a nice scan, but we're not seeing that quite yet from Alive.
Yeah, and the Vipers are also... Ravens, not Vipers, and Seeker Missile on the siege tanks is going to really nice save by Alive at the last second on those medevacs.
That was a sick save there, even if his units are forced back there. That was still very impressive to see him pick up those 2 siege tanks at the absolute last second there, saving them, or at least prolonging their life before they get killed off by that Banshee there, but that was still pretty cool. I didn't even know you could do that with the medevacs.
Well, you could definitely do it, but it's really hard to do it and get it timed correctly. Now, we do want to commend Alive for the amazing micro, but if you look at the situation, the mech player is actually ahead in supply, 168 to 163. The SCV count is favoring Ty right now, and his 4th expansion wasn't taken out.
Exactly, so the worst he had to do for that 4th base was simply lift it up. And there was a little bit of economic damage done both ways, but Team8's Ty is still ahead in the SCV count by about 9 right now. He has a very strong-looking army right now. Look at all the siege tanks in this army here. It's going to be harder and harder for Alive to engage there.
Yeah, I'm surprised that I don't see that many static defense back at main base, because his army is so far out on the map that it's really hard for him to defend against any kind of drops. He has 1 Widow Mine, but that's not going to be enough against the Hellbat drops, because the Widow Mines do not one-shot the medevacs.
Yeah, but we have some bio units coming in here. If that boosts in and Ty is not paying attention, he will easily lose that medevac here. But no, look at this, smartly dropping it out of the range of that Widow Mine, and these bio units here have to be careful. Look at this, Alive is covered on all positions here. These drops aren't going to do anything.
Yeah, but it doesn't matter if the drops do something or not, because those are only Hellbats. That's only a medevac. It's not like he's wasting tanks to go for harassment. Look at this double drop once again, but is the medevac gonna be in the range of the Widow Mine?
That's the real question. It looks like it's gonna go into the Widow Mine. Bam! Gets taken out. The medevac was on about half health there, so easily getting sniped off by that Widow Mine there. Nice defense from Alive here, and that one Hellbat isn't even going to do a single thing. And now, look at this, the Terran army, it's basically maxed out. We have Ty moving across the map with a very strong-looking army. Marines moving up without the siege tanks. They can do little cute maneuvers like this, but I feel like without any Vikings, those medevacs are just, sitting ducks against the Vikings.
Like I said, this is the time when the Bio forces are looking really weak against his opponent, trying to save the siege tanks once again, and saves both of them.
He still ends up losing 2 of them, unfortunately, though, and the tank count is now just insanely in Ty's favor here. We need to see some amazing engagements, some awesome ballsy moves from Alive here. Are the medevacs spotted? They're barely seen there, but does Ty realize that they're over there? Yes, or maybe not. He's not reacting to them at all, just deciding to move across the map to that 4th base. Now the medevacs moving into that 3rd base there. They're going to be able to easily snipe off this command center here, and this is where things become complicated because both players, they're sieging up here. The 4th base for our EGTL player is under siege. and Ty's third base is going to be easily taken out as well.
If Ty can actually hold the natural, then he could win the game easily because he has much better army. He has tons of these things back at the main base, so that's the reason why he didn't care about the metabacks. He calculated that, well, I could defend, even if I lose the fourth base, I'm going to kill his fourth base, and I could defend against his army while I'm going to crush my opponent's army, just like so.
Look at that. Even though Marauders are decent against tanks, the tank firepower for Ty, it's just too much for Alive here, and you know, when you are backed up against the ramp in your natural, that is not the position you want to be in TvT. Alive, he was not able to do a critical amount of damage to Ty's economy as well because, you know, the command centers are floating back to that third expansion there, and just things are looking worse and worse for our EGTL player.
I have to say, while Alive was doing so great with those, you know, cute...
Hold that thought, though. We have the Marauders moving in here, though. They're taking out the tanks. There's nothing to support them. I think Alive is going to be able to push back this attack here and potentially even this game out. The supplies are actually very close right now.
Supplies are very close, but we have Ty just making a massive amount of mech units because he was sitting on 4 bases for a long time. He did lose 1 command center, but he's making 2 at the same time. And even look at this, the Sacred Missile on the Viking and the Banshee.
The Banshee does barely survive here, but Alive, surprisingly, able to pretty much take out this entire force here. Even all of the Vikings have been sniped off now, so the Ravens and any other supporting units up there on the are going to die. Alive, he may be able to stabilize behind this if he's able to retake that 4th base.
He needs to retake the 4th base. Like you said, it's a question of can he retake the 4th base and get it up. If he can't get it up, then it's going to be really hard for Alive to come back, even with the cube micro maneuvers. And I'm wondering right now why Alive was so passive throughout the whole game. Maybe he was scared of the turrets and the Sense Tower. That's the reason why he was being, that's why he was just sitting inside the main base with his bio ball. But as a player who goes for the bio, like I said, you need to be so aggressive throughout the whole map. And this command center is actually under fire.
Yeah, it literally is under fire and on fire. Some mules need to drop down to repair that thing. And
did he actually drop it?
I
don't think he dropped it.
I don't think he dropped anything in there. Ty may not even realize. Well, he's moving some SCVs over there. And actually, if we look at the supplies here, Alive's ahead, and they're even on worker count.
He has to be ahead when it comes to the army count because of the Marines and the Marauders. You could spam them out so much faster than the mech army. But it's not as strong as a mech army. That's the biggest. That's the other issue that Alive has.
Hold that thought. Look at this. This entire army from Team8th Ty is completely out of position here, and the tanks are making a nice siege line there. But we have a secret missile going off on one of those tanks. That expansion has been taken down here. There's some Thors in this army. The Vikings, are they going to decide to move out here with this main army? This is looking like a weird position for our Terran player from EGTL. He needs to just get out of there and sacrifice some of those units.
All Ty has to do is take that out and then go towards the 4th base and wipe it out. Because now, if you look at the situation, even though Alive was able to take down the 4th base, there's already a 4th base on 5th base on the 12 o'clock position, and Alive just finished his 4th command center.
Indeed, that's a very good point you have there. Also, Ty looking a little bit ahead in supplies right now. That 5th base, looking at that, so smart, lifting that up already, realizing that he won't be able to hold that expansion. It looks like Alive is doing a very good job at staying in this game despite that huge loss a little bit early on in the game.
Yeah, he knows that if he fights head-on, he's going to lose the game. So he's just trying to be as cute as possible, trying to go for the extra harassment around the map, and Ty needs to save the command center because if that bursts down, then we don't know what's going to happen. You know, like I said, Ty was in great position.
Oh, nice snipe off on that Raven there. That command center is still burning once again. SCVs, though, are nearby. They should be able to repair it. Also, excellent drop here from Alive, going to be able to delay that expansion even longer. This is exactly what Alive needs to do to get back in this game. He needs to constantly harass his opponent and not give him time to go on a huge attack. But now, the Thors, the tanks are moving up here. They're not even sieged, and all of Alive's tanks are going to get taken out here. Now, it looks like Ty is taking a pretty large supply advantage here, and he's able to easily move in here. Alive, sweating like a pig here. He must be insanely hot in that player booth.
See, one thing that I don't like about Alive's push is that he's doing such a great job with the drops and the metabacks. And look at this, he could actually take the 4th base right now with a really nice drop on the siege tanks. But he's not saving up his own siege tanks when he is pushing out. He's losing every single one of them, left and right.
Exactly. Now the tanks have come in position here. They're going to fire down on that 4th expansion from Alive, and he's just getting run dry here. Remember,
yeah, he has no economy.
Remember, TvT, it's all about choking out your opponent and not letting him take too many expansions. That's exactly what we're seeing right here. And that's the siege tank count, the Thors as well. It's just a very, very scary army, and it's going to be so hard for Ty to break through.
Yeah, even if Ty loses all of his SCVs at the 4th base, this is looking really grim for Alive because he's not going to have this command center.
Yeah, that command center burning down right now. Tanks constantly shelling it down. And
it's not free to repair this command center, by the way. So you need to use the minerals, and eventually, you know, you have to take out the main army. And here we go, Alive's going for it.
Alive trying the breakthrough here. This is critical for him, but his units just get completely obliterated by the tank line, by the Thors. There are a good amount of units that Alive sent through there, but simply not enough. Supplies are insanely in Team 8 Ty's favor now. I think this may be it. And Alive, I mean, he just doesn't have any more money.
Yeah, he has the SCVs, but he doesn't have the resources to mine from. That's the biggest problem. Losing the command center over and over, that is something you do not want to do. Yes, you could build up to 5 command centers, but you know, eventually they're just numbers game, and they eventually dwindle down if the Terran player actually focuses down.
Yeah, Alive able to pick off these units here, but the problem is just there's simply not enough resources for him. He needs to retake that expansion pronto, and that Hellbat there, he's got to be careful with those SCVs. 21 resources, and Alive, he's not even mining right now, dropping that command center down once again, really trying his hardest here. Alive moving in against this army. No, he's going to back out, and now look at that. Seeker missiles on those tanks, lifting up 2 of them once again. Very nice play by Alive, countering those Seeker missiles, but I mean, the problem now is that he still has no money, and he's constantly being outmaneuvered.
You know, if this was some other matchup like a TvT or a TvP, he could have won this really easily because he has such fantastic micro all over the map. But when it comes to TvT, yes, the engagements do matter, but in the end, if you don't have the economy, it doesn't matter if you do those cute harassments.
Yeah, that Hellbat even getting a lot of kills at the 3rd base there, preventing any more gas. Not that Alive needs it. You know, Hellbat continuing to do a lot of annoying harassment, but these constant attacks from Ty, if they can just be even in terms of trading, you know, for units per units, he's going to be ahead. He has that superior economy. That's all you need to do in this kind of situation.
Yeah, what Alive needs to do is wipe out his opponent's main army, but it's not going to be possible. I mean, look at the supply, 179 to 92 of Alive. He only has 1 base economy. His opponent, he can even go for another command center at the 1 o'clock position right now.
All right, and it looks like Ty's deciding to move in here, dropping down those point defense drones to really counter those Marauders, and just the main army of Ty is just going to completely obliterate through Alive. I think this is going to be it. Alive showing some amazing tenacity here by constantly harassing all over the map, especially this expansion here. But the problem is, once this base goes down, that's going to be it for Alive. He's going to be forced to tap out. The Hellions roasting everything. That's going to be it. GG. And Team 8 taking a quick 3-0 over EGTL, and I gotta say, just things are not working out that well for them today.
Yeah, the biggest problem with the Alive's game was that he wasn't being so active earlier in the game. He allowed his opponent to take the 4th base and actually mine from him for a pretty good time. He didn't kill the command center. His army was always trapped, and he always lost his siege tanks.
Indeed, I feel like the lineups here are just so much in Team 8's favor. Everything they could ask for as far as lineups go, I feel like they pretty much got, and that's just making it very hard for EGTL. And look at even EGTL, they're still commending Alive for staying in the game for so long, you know, despite being behind for most of that game. And now, like I said, Team 8 up 3-0 against Evil Genius's Team Liquid, who through the last